All right, so this week I'm going to be talking about the Hollywood economy. Often we know that movie studios are in two businesses. They're in business of making the films and then distributing the films. They often spend more money distributing the films, like things with ad campaigns, and then they will make a profit. So this is often a not so lucrative industry. An example would be the new Monster Truck movie that's coming out. They reportedly spent 125 million making the movie, but are only predicted to make between 8 to 10 million. I read this article from the New York Times about how does the film industry make money, and this is the ultimate question because we've seen so many examples where movies spend tons of money getting big budget stars, tons of money on stunts or location or animation, and they don't make that money back. But this industry's been going on for 80 years strong and somehow is still continuing to function. So Hollywood has to attempt to guess what kind of movies their audiences are going to be into. Is it going to be 3D, spy movies, animation? So sometimes they make an estimate, they make a guess, and sometimes they're right, and sometimes they're not, and those movies are ultimately the ones that don't make the profit. An industry like this has a hard time predicting because often there's no clear pattern, there's no rhyme or reason to what movie will do well. Sometimes there are predictors, like if you get large popular stars at the time to be involved. This article then goes on to explain that movie studios make a profit by selling their rights. So they sell these rights to TV stations or video games or pay for TV or overseas. So these movies can be shown over there. Also, these Hollywood studios find other ways to bring revenue in. That's through things such as branding. An example would be Disney and their franchise that they've created, which is Frozen. Disney estimated that Frozen brought in $1 billion in retail revenue over the last year, which is 2014, when the movie originally came out. So it's about creating these products that extend the movie-going experience, that make it more make it more than just going to the movies, or make it more about the characters themselves and kind of like bringing them into your own life. And this is done with things other than children's movies. It's done with like places like, or movies like The Avengers. You know, people buy their figures or people buy their, phone cases with The Avengers on it. And it becomes ultimately how these Hollywood franchises are making their money. It becomes less about the box office sales and more about the branding and the creating this environment that's more about the characters and the story. So essentially the film industry is destroying itself by going to a more product-based sales than actually focusing on the film and the filmmaking. But it has to do that to adapt to the industry because kind of a lack of investors that are willing to risk it for a movie that isn't going to make their profits back. There's more stable investments that people with money could go to.